This is part 2 of our two-part video series on the display portion of the map. Where we left off before was how do we view a pop-up window which gives us additional information about a system. You can imagine that you can do this with a number of systems so that you can quite easily start comparing and contrasting, for example, systems which are deposited under the same process regime. But if you want to find out more about a given system, how do we in fact do this? Well, what we have to do next is click on this Open Detailed View window. And what would happen now is we would open a new tab in our browser, which would give us the same version of the interactive map we are viewing at the moment, but at a larger scale, in which case we can also control a lot of the geomorphology in terms of what is being shown and what is being hidden from view. So let us do that. What happens now is that we show a geomorphological map of the same area. So once again, this would be the Danube system. First of all, let me zoom in and let me show you that we have a fair bit of details in many of these maps. So what we have done in this case, for example, in white over here, we have our beach ridges. Let me turn on the legend so that we know what we're looking at. So what is shown in white would be chenier and beach ridges. We have active and abandoned channels shown in blue. We have also scroll bars, which are shown in orange. This kind of light gray polygon indicates a channel belt, which has also been mapped. So a lot of these maps, they go pretty much around the world. We have mapped most of the major systems around the world in a fair bit of detail. And this is where, in essence, the most valuable part of using these atlases from an analog standpoint stands, because you can, in fact, view a system in fair bit of detail. There is a little hint written here. So if we would press Control button on our keyboard and then move our mouse, we can very easily both rotate and tilt the map interactively. So again, from an analog standpoint, if you find several systems that you like, you can very easily align them under exactly the same orientation. We have a scale here on the bottom, so you can potentially even show systems on the same scale and the same orientation that you can then compare and contrast. Let us say a few more words about what we can do on this page apart from rotating the map. We have full control over what geomorphology is shown or hidden. So for example, we can toggle on and off ridges interactively. As you can see, this is a fairly quick process. We can hide the drainage if we like. We can show and hide scroll bars if we like. We can show and hide the channel belts if we like. Okay, so we have full control over what is shown. And in addition to that, we have the satellite view layer, which we can, again, which will allow us to very quickly and easily assess what exactly has been mapped in a given system. So there is a fair bit of information, and one thing that I should mention is that this type of information is global. So most of the world's main coastlines would be included. So for example, if we would go to another part in the world, let us go to, let's say, Madagascar. We can see that we have quite a few coastlines which have been continuously mapped. Again, we can sort of play around with the views if we like. We can even do little flight through animations. So we can view a system. This is an example where we have the mouth bars of the system also shown. So this is the mouth bar layer. Okay. So you can imagine that we have a system for which we have maps for the channel belts in the system, information about the beach ridges which are visible, and then the mouth bars which are also occupying the system, which is allowing us a complete kind of geomorphological view, which can also be placed in a regional topographical tectonic framework. So in this case, we have these tide influence systems along this coastline. We can see that we are dealing with variability of shelf widths. In this case, we can see that we are fairly close to topographically high areas. Many of these systems would be of relatively high gradient, and these are the sort of things which we can very easily study by viewing these analogs. And again, this is global information. We can go on the other coastline on the coast of Africa, and again view, for example, the Zambezi system in exactly the same way, which also shows fairly interesting geomorphology.